The Zetherian fleet glided silently through the void of space. Long, slender ships of polished silver reflected distant stars, forming a constellation of living machines. At the heart of the formation was Admiral Kylan, the commander of the emissary fleet. His eyes, large and violet, scanned the holographic maps that floated before him. Every sensor hummed softly, reporting the slow but steady approach to a small blue planet. Earth. "Report," Kylan said, his voice calm but commanding. The bridge of the lead ship, Alaris, was filled with officers, each expert in their field. Some monitored communication frequencies, others scanned for energy signatures or mapped the gravitational pull of the planet below. "We are within 5 million kilometers of Earth," one officer reported. "No hostile activity detected so far. Atmospheric reading stable. The planet appears similar to reports from previous observation probes. Signals of intelligent life are present, though limited." Kylan nodded. The Zetherians were a peaceful civilization, explorers and diplomats above all. They had traveled across countless galaxies seeking understanding and partnership. Humans were a new variable, one they approached with curiosity rather than fear. "Signal from the planet," another officer said. "It is an invitation." Kylan leaned closer. On the screen appeared a faint pulse of encoded data, repeated several times. His translator array decrypted it quickly. "This want to meet." "They call it a diplomatic exchange," Kylan said. "Prepare our greetings. We must proceed carefully. Humanity is unpredictable." The officers nodded. Preparations began immediately. Drones were dispatched to scan the upper atmosphere. Cultural archives were reviewed to ensure that gestures of peace and respect were accurate. The Zetherians believed in subtlety and understanding, and they knew that first impressions could last a lifetime. As the fleet moved closer, the planet came into clearer view. Blue oceans shimmered beneath wispy clouds, and green lands stretched in irregular patterns across continents. Cities glimmered faintly with light, evidence of civilization. But Kylan noticed something unusual. Large structures scattered near major cities that seemed to hum with energy. "Military installations," Kylan murmured. "Stronger than expected? Why would they build so many weapons if they truly seek diplomacy?" The officers exchanged worried glances. Humanity's history in the interstellar records was brief. Zetherian intelligence had monitored Earth for decades, noting technological leaps and sudden bursts of innovation. And yet there was something different this time, something that felt like a test. Kylan's first officer, Taria, spoke. "Admiral, we are receiving additional signals. They are encrypted but not hostile in tone. It seems like a confirmation of our approach." Kylan's fingers tapped the console. "Open a secure channel. Let us send a message of peace. Simple, clear, respectful." A holographic projection of the Zetherian emblem appeared in orbit above Earth's major communication satellites. A calm, modulated voice echoed across the frequencies. "We are Zetherian emissaries. We come in peace and seek understanding. Prepare for our arrival." There was silence. No immediate response came back. Kylan frowned slightly. Delays were unusual. Humans were quick learners. They usually responded to signals almost instantly. "Perhaps they are preparing," Taria suggested. "We should give them time." Kylan nodded. "Yes, prepare docking protocols near the coordinates given. We must remain ready but patient." As hours passed, Earth slowly revealed itself. Cities lit up as the sun rotated across continents. Humans were active, moving in ways that showed organization, intelligence, and creativity. Some ships could be seen leaving large ports, though nothing approached the Zetherian fleet. Kylan allowed himself a moment to reflect. He had seen many civilizations, each with its own strength, its own weaknesses, and yet humans felt different. Their unpredictability was tangible, almost like a subtle vibration in the air. It made him cautious but also intrigued. Suddenly, Taria's console beeped urgently. "Admiral, unusual energy readings near the northern continent. Large-scale movement. They are assembling something." Kylan's brow furrowed. "Describe. Too large for conventional ships? Too fast for natural construction? It appears like a massive structure. Mobile, perhaps. Energy output is enormous. We may be witnessing a new kind of weapon." The bridge went quiet. Even among seasoned officers, tension rose. Humanity had not yet made interstellar contact, and here they were possibly building a machine of devastating power before the Zetherians had even landed. Kylan spoke carefully. We must proceed with caution. Inform the fleet. Maintain distance. But do not panic. Observation is our priority. Let us learn what this is before making assumptions. Tarja nodded. Yes, Admiral. Below, Earth's surface continued in normal rhythm, yet the energy signature grew. It pulsed like a heartbeat, steady but intense. Kylan stared at the readings. If this is what I suspect, they have created something extraordinary, dangerous, but we must not assume hostility yet. Let them speak. Let them reveal their intentions. Hours turned into days as the Zetherian fleet maintained orbit. Kylan watched humans closely, noticing patterns. Earth seemed prepared for visitors, but prepared in a way that hinted at caution, even fear. Large ground-based installations shifted and rotated, as though waiting for some kind of signal. Kylan sent another communication. We await your representatives. We come with respect and goodwill. Prepare a safe landing zone and we will meet in peace. This time the response was different. It was brief but formal. A series of coordinates appeared, leading to an isolated area near a mountain range far from populated cities. Kylan considered the location. Remote, secure, but still accessible. A diplomatic landing site. Prepare our landing, Kylan said. Full ceremonial protocols. Keep the fleet on alert but remain non-aggressive. Let them see our intentions are honorable. As preparations continued, a sense of anticipation grew aboard the Zetherian ships. Officers discussed possibilities, some cautiously optimistic, others wary. Humanity's history was unpredictable, yet filled with flashes of brilliance. They had survived catastrophes, learned, adapted, and grown faster than most civilizations expected. Kylan understood one truth. Underestimating humans was a mistake no one could afford. The day of landing arrived. The Zetherians descended slowly, their ships gliding above the rugged terrain. The mountain range stretched like a barrier, but the chosen landing zone was a flat plateau. Nature had carved a natural arena, perfect for a first meeting. Kylan's heart, or whatever organ closest resembled it, beat steadily. This was diplomacy, a chance for understanding, for cooperation. He was proud of his crew, who had trained for decades for such a moment. Begin descent, he commanded. Tread lightly. Let humanity see respect, not fear. The ships touched down gracefully, sending small clouds of dust into the air. The Zetherian crew disembarked, moving with deliberate, peaceful gestures. Their appearance was elegant, designed to inspire curiosity, not intimidation. Kylan himself led the group, projecting confidence and calm. The plateau was silent. Only the wind stirred the sparse vegetation. Then from a distance humans appeared. Not diplomats in flowing robes as the Zetherians had imagined, but figures moving with measured precision, some in uniforms, others carrying equipment that hinted at advanced engineering. Kylan's mind raced. This is unusual, he whispered to Tarja. Not what we expected. But let us wait. Let them speak first. And then, as the humans drew closer, a new kind of tension filled the air. It was as if the planet itself held its breath, waiting for what was about to unfold. Kylan realized something profound. First contact would not just reveal humanity, it would reveal the future of the galaxy itself. And in that quiet, expectant moment, the Zetherians could only hope that humans were as peaceful as their message had promised. End of Part 1. This sets up the story, introduces the characters, builds suspense, and keeps the reader curious about Earth's true intentions. I can continue with Part 2, where the shocking truth about the human battleship is revealed, keeping it engaging and HFY focused. Do you want me to continue with Part 2 next? You said ChatGPT said absolutely. Here's Part 2 of your HFY Sci-Fi story in third person, written in simple, engaging English, clean, and around 1,300 words. Part 2. The Unexpected Arrival. The Zetherians had barely set foot on the plateau when the ground trembled faintly beneath their feet. Admiral Kylan turned, sensing the vibrations through the floor of the landing zone. His large violet eyes narrowed, scanning the horizon. There, he said, pointing toward the distant skyline. A massive shadow stretched across the mountains, moving with deliberate force. The human figures, which had seemed ordinary moments ago, froze. Some raised arms and gestures Kylan did not recognize. Others returned to their devices as if waiting for a command. Then, from behind a ridge, a colossal shape emerged, a ship unlike anything the Zetherians had ever encountered. It was enormous, long, sleek, and dark as the void itself. Its hull glimmered faintly, covered with lines of energy conduits that pulsed rhythmically. The vessel dwarfed anything in the Zetherian fleet, and Kylan felt a pang of unease. "This is no diplomatic vessel," Kylan said softly. "This is a weapon." The plateau beneath the mountains was bathed in the pale light of Earth's sun, as Admiral Kylan watched the human fleet from the bridge of the Alaris. The Zetherians had expected communication, negotiation, perhaps even a tentative exchange of knowledge. Instead, they faced the silent, imposing presence of the Aegis, Earth's planet-killer battleship, and a species that radiated confidence in every movement. Kylan turned to Tarja. "They do not attack, yet they do not speak. Their silence is deliberate." Tarja's sensors confirmed the subtle activity. "They are not preparing for immediate assault, but they are scanning us continuously. Every move we make is being recorded and analyzed." Kylan exhaled. "Then this is no ordinary encounter. Humanity is testing us, seeing how we will respond. A test of strategy and patience. The Zetherians were known for their diplomacy and intellect, but they had never encountered a species quite like this. Humans relied on unpredictability and creativity, qualities the Zetherians admired but also found difficult to anticipate. Every sensor reading, every shift in the plateau suggested that humans were prepared to adapt instantly to any situation. "We must proceed with caution," Kylan said. "Observe, learn, but be ready for action. Any misstep could provoke them, and we cannot underestimate their cunning." As if to illustrate his point, small devices launched from the Aegis. They moved with speed and precision, forming patterns in the air above the plateau. The Zetherians watched through their sensors as the devices emitted pulses that interfered with the fleet's communications and scanning arrays. "They are testing our defenses," Tarja said, her voice tinged with awe. "But the pulses are not destructive. They are measuring responses, probing weaknesses." Kylan nodded slowly. "Exactly. This is a challenge, not a battle, and we must rise to it." The Zetherians responded carefully. Small drones of their own were dispatched, hovering near the Earth devices. They mimicked human movements while transmitting subtle decoys of energy. The humans adjusted instantly, analyzing the responses, testing once more. It became clear the humans were teaching a lesson. Brute force alone would not succeed against them. Intelligence, adaptability, and strategic thinking were equally vital. Kylan observed the unfolding interaction with a mixture of concern and admiration. He realized something profound. Humans were not merely defending themselves. They were demonstrating the importance of creativity under pressure. Hours passed, and the humans maintained their vigilance. The Aegis remained anchored, its enormous hull glinting in the sunlight. Small vessels moved in and out of the ship's bays, carrying devices that appeared to record, analyze, and transmit. Every move was deliberate, precise, and coordinated. Kylan decided it was time to respond with a measure of their own. "Prepare the cognitive array," he ordered. "We will engage in a controlled test of tactics. Nothing lethal, but enough to show our capability." The Zetherians deployed holographic simulators, virtual constructs that mimicked fleet movements, tested energy distributions, and calculated defensive maneuvers. The humans responded almost immediately, adjusting their own scans and deploying subtle countermeasures. Each side learned from the other, a silent dialogue of intellect rather than violence. Tarja's antennas twitched with excitement. "Admiral, they are impressive. Even as they show restraint, their analytical abilities rival ours. Every pattern, every move. They anticipate, then innovate." Kylan allowed himself a small smile. "Yes, this is not hostility. This is recognition of potential. They respect strength, but they value creativity equally." As the day progressed, the Zetherians observed another surprising tactic. Humans on the ground coordinated small, rapid maneuvers around the plateau, planting devices and scanning for environmental advantages. The plateau itself became a chessboard, each species moving pieces carefully, testing reactions. "They are learning our patterns, but also adapting them to their environment," Tarja said. "They are fast, resourceful, and patient." Kylan nodded. "Exactly what makes them formidable. They may not yet have the experience of older civilizations, but their adaptability and courage are unmatched." The Zetherians decided to escalate the test slightly. Small energy pulses mimicking minor attacks were projected toward the human positions. Not destructive, but enough to force a response. The humans reacted almost instantaneously, deploying shielding mechanisms, relocating drones, and recalculating trajectories. Kylan watched with growing respect. Notice how quickly they learn. Each iteration improves their response. They do not panic. They do not freeze. They analyze, adapt, and counter. By mid-afternoon, the humans had begun to introduce more complex patterns, moving in ways that forced the Zetherians to rethink their own strategies. It became a silent game of intellect, each side probing, countering, and innovating. Kylan observed his officers closely. Some were frustrated, accustomed to relying on sheer precision and advanced technology. Humans, however, did not allow predictability. They forced the Zetherians to think creatively, to adapt beyond calculations. "This is a battle of minds," Kylan said softly, "not weapons. And in that battle, we are learning as much about ourselves as about them." Tarya's antennas twitched in agreement. They are testing us, not to destroy but to measure, to see if we are worthy of trust or understanding. As the sun began to set, a subtle change occurred. The humans seemed to shift focus, allowing their devices to act more independently, creating patterns that forced the Zetherians to anticipate moves several steps ahead. Kylan recognized the brilliance of their strategy. Humans combined technology with intuition, logic with creativity, and caution with boldness. He realized with quiet pride that humanity's greatest weapon was not the Aegis. It was the human mind itself. Kylan convened a meeting of his senior officers. "This is not a battle we fight with weapons. It is a test of wit, strategy, and resolve. Let us learn from it. Observe carefully. Every action, every decision teaches us something about this species." Tarya spoke next. "Admiral, I suggest we attempt a small collaborative maneuver. Not as equals yet, but to show that we understand their approach. Perhaps they will recognize our intentions and respond in kind." Kylan considered this. "Agreed, prepare a simulation. We will introduce a complex pattern and allow the humans to respond freely. No coercion, no dominance, just intelligence meeting intelligence." The Zetherians deployed their simulation. Holographic constructs moved across the plateau, creating patterns that mirrored environmental challenges, energy distribution, and fleet coordination. The humans responded almost instantly, devising counter patterns, adjusting, and even improving the Zetherians' design in subtle ways. Kylan watched in amazement. "They are enhancing our methods. They learn from us and build upon it. This is remarkable," Tarya smiled faintly. "They are teaching us without words. Every move is a lesson." As night fell over the plateau, both sides paused for a moment. The humans had not attacked, and the Zetherians had refrained from hostility. Instead, there was a mutual acknowledgement. Intelligence, courage, and adaptability were the true measure of strength. Kylan addressed his officers. "Observe closely. Respect their creativity. They are young, yes, but their minds are sharp. Their courage is unquestionable. This is what makes them worthy of recognition." Tarya added, "Even with the Aegis, they rely on strategy, not just brute force. Their greatest weapon is their unpredictability combined with calculated thought." Kylan nodded. "And that is exactly what we must respect. Let this encounter not be remembered for potential destruction, but for the lesson it teaches. Strength is not only in weapons, but in intelligence, adaptability, and courage." The human fleet and the Aegis remained visible against the starry sky, silent but unmistakably present. Kylan felt a growing admiration for this species. They had tested the Zetherians without aggression, forced them to think, and demonstrated that human ingenuity could rival any civilization the Zetherians had encountered. He realized something important. First contact was not about domination or conquest. It was about understanding potential, measuring intent, and recognizing courage. And humanity had shown all of these qualities in abundance. Kylan stood on the plateau as the stars shimmered overhead. He felt a sense of profound respect. Humanity had proven itself, not through destructive power alone, but through wit, strategy, and fearless resolve. The Zetherians had come expecting diplomacy. Instead, they found a challenge, a test, and a revelation. Humans were worthy partners capable of remarkable intelligence and courage. And as the night deepened, the first silent understanding formed between the two civilizations, a recognition that strength was measured not only in weapons or technology, but in the mind, in creativity, and in the courage to stand firm when tested. The test of wit had begun, and both sides had learned something invaluable. Humanity had shown that even in the face of overwhelming power, they would not falter, and the Zetherians understood at last that this unpredictability, this combination of intelligence, courage, and innovation, was the heart of humanity itself. The stage was set for the next step, human resolve against the wisdom of the Zetherians, a confrontation of strategy, intelligence, and heart. And end of part 3. The plateau was quiet, yet the tension in the air was palpable. The events of the past days had left a lasting impression on both the Zetherians and the humans. No weapons had been fired, yet every mind was alert, every eye observing, every sensor scanning. The humans had displayed their ingenuity, courage, and strategic thinking. The Zetherians had watched, learned, and adapted in response. Admiral Kylan stood at the edge of the Alaris, gazing at the distant silhouette of the Aegis. The massive battleship loomed over the plateau like a dark sentinel, yet its presence now felt less threatening and more impressive. Humans had not used it recklessly. They had relied on intelligence, creativity, and discipline to convey a message. Earth was not a planet to be underestimated. "They have earned our attention," Kylan said, turning to Tarja. "Not through intimidation, but through resolve and intellect. They have proven their capability without unnecessary aggression. That is the measure of true strength," Tarja nodded. "And they have shown something else, Admiral. They are willing to face uncertainty, to adapt in real time, and to learn from every interaction. That is extraordinary." Kylan allowed himself a small, rare smile. "Indeed. Perhaps this is what first contact was meant to reveal. Not differences, but potential. Not threats, but understanding." On the human side, the commander of the Aegis studied the Zetherians with equal care. For days they had observed the alien fleet's responses to simulations, pulses, and subtle maneuvers. Humans had expected advanced intellect and discipline, but the Zetherians had surprised them with restraint, caution, and careful observation. Every decision was deliberate, every pause measured. They were not reckless explorers. They were capable, thoughtful beings. The human commander spoke through the communication channel, their voice firm yet calm. "Admiral Kylan and the Zetherian fleet, you have demonstrated caution, intelligence, and respect for life. Earth recognizes your restraint and careful observation. We propose dialogue, honest, direct, and based on mutual understanding." Kylan felt a sense of relief. The humans had finally offered an opportunity for communication on equal terms. But he also felt a profound respect for their method. They had shown power without aggression, intelligence without arrogance, and courage without recklessness. He responded through the Zetherian arrays. "Your conduct has been exemplary. We have learned much about your species, your creativity, and your courage. We accept your offer of dialogue. Let this be the beginning of understanding rather than conflict." A ripple of quiet passed through both sides. For the first time, the plateau seemed less tense, more alive with the possibility of cooperation. The humans began lowering defensive devices slightly, signaling trust without abandoning caution. The Zetherians did the same, retracting some drones and deactivating simulation pulses. Kylan reflected on the lessons of the past days. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but not reckless. They were intelligent, innovative, and fearless in ways that even advanced civilizations often underestimated. They had combined technology with creativity, strategy with intuition, and caution with courage. Humanity's true strength was not in the Aegis alone, but in the minds and hearts of those who operated it. The humans moved closer, guided by their commander. Engineers and tacticians demonstrated their technology without threat, explaining subtle energy manipulations, environmental adjustments, and defensive strategies. The Zetherians watched, fascinated by the simplicity and elegance of human solutions. Kylan noted how humans integrated their environment into every strategy. Every ridge, rock, and valley became a tool, not just a backdrop. It was an approach that combined observation, creativity, and quick adaptation. Tarja whispered, "Even with overwhelming firepower, they rely on strategy first. That is why they succeed without destruction. That is why they earn respect." Kylan nodded. "And that is why they deserve a place in the galactic community. Not through fear, but through understanding, ingenuity, and courage." The two sides began a careful exchange of ideas. Humans explained basic technology. Cytherians shared observational techniques. Language barriers were bridged through translation arrays, but understanding went deeper than words. Actions, decisions, and deliberate choices communicated more than language ever could. Over the hours, a bond of respect formed. The Cytherians realized that Earth's people had survived countless challenges on their home planet, innovating and adapting constantly. Their resilience was remarkable. Humans, in turn, saw that the Cytherians were thoughtful, intelligent, and cautious, capable of great empathy and wisdom. Kylan spoke to his officers privately. Notice this, everyone. Strength is not only in weapons, technology, or numbers. It is in intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Humans have shown us all three in abundance. They are not naive. They are capable, clever, and persistent. That is what makes them exceptional, Tarja added quietly. Their courage is quiet but unwavering. They do not seek conflict, yet they are prepared to defend themselves intelligently. That is what separates them from many other species we have encountered. The humans then made a gesture of trust. Several small vessels landed nearby, carrying key personnel who wished to speak directly with the Cytherian officers. No weapons were visible. Every move was calculated to demonstrate respect without weakness. Keelan stepped forward to meet them. The human's posture was confident but not arrogant. Their eyes reflected intelligence, patience, and determination. He realized that humanity's strength was in balance between power and restraint, intellect and creativity, courage and humility. One human spoke clearly. Admiral Kylan, the Aegis was not sent to destroy, but to ensure that Earth is not underestimated. We respect strength and intelligence, and we expect the same in return. Let this encounter be the foundation for cooperation, not conflict. Kylan bowed slightly, a gesture of respect in Cytherian culture. Your message is understood. We came to share knowledge and to understand your civilization. We leave today with both. Humans have proven their worth, not through force, but through mind, courage, and creativity. A quiet moment passed. Both sides stood in silent acknowledgement. The plateau no longer felt tense. It felt alive with potential. The humans had demonstrated their ability to combine strength and intelligence, strategy and courage, innovation and restraint. The Cytherians had observed, learned, and recognized the true value of humanity. Kylan addressed his fleet. Prepare to leave the plateau but maintain orbit. We will continue this dialogue formally. Earth has shown its resolve, and we must show ours not through intimidation, but through understanding and mutual respect, Tarja added. Admiral, humanity's actions today have changed how we view them. They are not just survivors. They are innovators, leaders, and thinkers. Their resolve is extraordinary. Kylan allowed himself to feel a rare sense of pride. Humanity had earned recognition not by firepower, but by the courage to act intelligently under pressure, the ingenuity to adapt, and the unwavering commitment to stand firm when challenged. As the Cytherian ships lifted from the plateau, humans waved subtly a gesture of goodwill. The Aegis remained, powerful yet restrained, a symbol of potential, not of domination. Both civilizations understood that the galaxy was vast and full of unknown challenges, but for the first time, they faced it with mutual recognition and respect. Kylan spoke softly to Tarja as they departed. We came expecting diplomacy, but we leave with something far greater, understanding. Humanity has shown us the meaning of true resolve. Their courage, intelligence, and adaptability have earned not just our respect, but our admiration. Tarja smiled faintly. And they have done so without unnecessary aggression, Admiral. That is their true strength. That is what makes them remarkable. The Cytherian fleet ascended into the sky, leaving the plateau behind. Below, humans continued to monitor their equipment, calm and vigilant. The encounter had not been about domination, nor had it been about proving superiority. It had been about understanding, recognition, and the quiet demonstration of what humanity could achieve when courage, intelligence, and ingenuity combined. Kylan reflected on the lessons learned. Across countless galaxies, he had seen civilizations rise and fall. Some relied on overwhelming power, others on cunning or diplomacy alone. But humans were different. They had combined strength of mind, resilience, and creativity in ways that no Cytherian, or indeed any other species, had fully anticipated. In that realization, he felt hope. The galaxy could be a dangerous place, full of unknown challenges, yet humanity had proven that they could meet those challenges. not by intimidation or sheer force, but by intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Kylan transmitted a final message to Earth before leaving orbit. Humans, you have shown your true strength, not in weapons, but in mind, courage, and creativity. We recognize your worth and look forward to building a future of understanding and cooperation. From the Human Command Center, the message was received with calm acknowledgement. Their eyes reflected quiet pride, not arrogance. They had been tested, they had shown their resolve, and they had earned respect on a galactic scale. Kylan watched the plateau recede into the distance. The mountains, the humans, the Aegis, all symbols of what he now understood. Earth's people were formidable not because of a single weapon, but because of their minds and